I tend to have a few rules whenever I head out with the camera, whenever I'm planning to do some landscape photography. Sometimes though, those rules, they have to be broken. There's no way around it if I want to capture a particular image. Capturing children in the shot, for example. If that happens, they will be photoshopped out, but then I don't often like people in my images anyway. There is, however, one rule in particular that I always try to avoid breaking if it can be helped. To be honest, the rule I want to discuss in today's video, I find it difficult to avoid breaking, especially on a day like today. I've come out to a brand new location, never been out here before, a new landscape stretching off into the horizon, a new composition for me to shoot in the early hours of today. I'm out this morning facing the beach huts at Sea Salter. The location though, it's not important, it never overly matters. What matters is that I have a great time out with the camera. First shot though of the morning, facing the beach huts head on, ISO 100, f8, 1 second shutter. Hopefully I have a great time out with the camera and produce some images that I'm really proud of. Now I've got a feeling the last shot I took of the beach huts, that could well be a great example of my one rule and the struggle that I have when trying not to break it. However, first off, I just want to talk about locations. So I like to put them into two categories. The first type of location that I always like to go out to is the popular spots. The locations where countless photographers have been before me. You're just going back to a familiar composition and capturing what countless other photographers have captured before you. I'd kind of class the Sea Salter beach huts in that category. I've since driven a couple of miles along to this part of the countryside, which I'd put into my second category. The type of spot that you come out to where maybe not so many photographers come out here, partly because there's nothing really worth shooting. I always love coming out to these locations regardless, just in case I find something a little bit more unique with the camera. The only problem with the latter, when heading out to an unfamiliar location, a location that's not been overly explored by previous photographers, is the dread, the trepidation that the trip out with the camera is going to be a little bit of a waste. You're not going to find anything because there's a reason that no one comes out here to these particular parts of the world, because there's nothing worth shooting. Already though, I can confirm that today is a risk that really feels like it's been paying off. I feel like I've got some decent shots so far, but it all circles back round to that one rule that I cannot break this particular weekend. But thankfully, even though it is very muddy out here today, this is going to be a trip that is not going to be a waste. I'm not going to have wasted money, I'm not going to have wasted petrol. I'm going to have a great trip out today, I think. So what's all this got to do with some silly photography rule that I try and stick to whenever I head out on location? Well, whenever I head out with the camera, it's very easy to fall into a trap. And the trap is simple. It's euphoria. You see, I'm out at a new location. I'm out discovering new potential compositions. It's very easy to get lost in the moment, shooting away at whatever I see, shooting away at whatever I come across. Now, those images, they might be worth sharing. They might be a load of rubbish. They might not be anything special. And that is the one thing that you've got to be careful of whenever you head out and you're going out and doing photography. And of course, there's nothing wrong with having that sense of euphoria. There's nothing wrong with having a great time out on location with the camera. I mean, if you're not having a great time out with the camera, you've got to question why are you doing it in the first place. The problem that I find with euphoria though is that you can be out on location, you can have such a great time, you can take some images that you think are amazing. You rush home, the first thing you do when you get home, you think to yourself, oh, I've just had a great time out with the camera, I cannot wait to start editing those images as soon as possible. You download those images to your computer, you start editing them, you think, oh, this is amazing, oh, that shot's amazing, it's just like what I remembered a couple of hours ago. But yeah, that is the trap that is so easy to fall into. I mean, I get it, I do it at times myself. You've got that euphoria of being out on location, you've got the euphoria of taking those images. So you don't look at them from a more neutral viewpoint. It's when you look back at them a few days later and you think to yourself, actually, you know what, I'm not a fan of those shots that I took. And that is the one rule that I desperately try and stick to. Whenever I get home from a photography trip out, I try not to look at any images for at least 24 hours. That way, when I look at them on Lightroom, I've just got a fresh outlook. All that euphoria has kind of died down just a little bit. Now I would love to admit that I always stick to that one rule, blah, 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 blah. But that is not the case. There are times when I'll head out with the camera. I think today is going to be one of them, where I have such a great time out with the camera. I just cannot wait to get home and look at the images that I've produced. There's the risk, of course, that in the coming weeks, months, years, I'll dislike them. But I think it is a risk worth taking, because there are times, and there's been times like it today, where I'll see a shot in the distance, I'll set the camera up, I'll look at the shot through the back of the viewfinder, I'll hit that shutter button, and when you hit that shutter button with a shot like that, there's just those times where you know that you've captured something worthwhile, something to be proud of. And it's those shots in particular that I can't wait to get back home and start editing. Like I say, I think there's a couple of shots that I've captured like that today. And when I get back to Lightroom, if I'm not proud of those images, well, something's gone very wrong.